Welcome back, fellow spy fans. It's your trusty hosts of the Spies Like Us podcast, Todd and Dave. Hey,
Hello.
this week we're discussing a really interesting spin on the spy genre, to say the least. We're talking about Spy Family, which is an anime that follows Westonia's greatest spy, codenamed Twilight. And for various reasons, he's required to establish a cover family and adopts a young girl who happens to be a telepath and recruits a cover wife who happens to be an assassin. What are your first impressions, Todd?
First impressions. We've done the first three episodes, which I think
Yeah.
are all that's what's out right now.
Yeah.
The show just came out. By getting through, and they're definitely set up. Lots of setup here, introducing the characters together. By the end, I'm into it. I want to see more.
Yeah, it's cute. I did tell you it was pretty anime, though. I'm not sure how much we're going to get to pull from the show, but I'm glad you're liking it because I'm loving it. I don't know if I can recommend it to most of our audience, but if you like anime, you'll probably like this show.
Yeah, and relax. We're probably only gonna do this one episode on the
Yeah.
show.
Unless you guys are like adamantly like fiending for more Spy Family talk, you can always hit us up on Twitter, spies_like us, or email us at spieslikeus.net. Um, the show is a fictional setting. Normally, I'm surprised. Well, maybe they wanted to be safe. There's two nations, Westalis and Estonia, and our protagonist Twilight is a spy for Westalis, but he's working in Ostania. The story starts out with the death of one of the diplomats because, of course, every big war and spy thriller needs an assassination attempt. But the heads of Westalis meet to discuss the situation. They don't think it's so much of an accident. So they recruit Twilight, and the agency is WISE, which stands for Westalis' Intelligence Agency. So the idea is they've assigned Twilight to maintain peace by spying on Donovan Desmond, who's the leader of an extremist political party within Ostania, or Ostania. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's the basic premise of the show. You and I watched the first episode together, and the first mission we see our protagonist on is getting film of the foreign minister's toupee. What did you think about this one?
Well, that's your first clue that it's a comedy.
Yeah.
I think that was our first clue.
Yeah.
That was the first one where I realized like what the sense of humor of the show was going to be. And yeah, apparently the toupee is like really kind of important. And since I don't want to dwell on it, but now would be the time. I think my favorite joke in the show is sometime later, one of the henchmen of the big bad guy says, "Hey boss, I'm starting to think maybe we should forget about the toupee." And the boss just does one of those. I'm an uber cartoony villain, and just like whips out his gun and shoots the guy dead for even daring to suggest. Which wasn't to me the super funny part. The super funny part was just that line. "Hey boss, maybe it's time to just let this toupee thing go."
It was good. I liked it. Apparently, the idea was the foreign minister's toupee would force him to resign. So Twilight dresses up as the main villain and steals the negatives and the pictures, saving Westalis from shame. But yes, Todd put it best. That definitely sets the tone for the show. It is definitely a very wholesome action comedy. And if you're used to anime fan service, there is pretty much anti-fan service. I think the wife does a high kick, and there's purposely not a panty shot that the internet is going nuts over. But it's definitely very.
How dare they?
Oh no, I love it because I'm so tired of fan service. And even she dresses like really conservatively. I think her assassin dress is about as like taboo as you're gonna get, and even then, it's still not that revealing.
You're right
But
though. I hadn't thought about the fact as far as it being like I mean, it's not G rated,
right,
but
right, no,
by any means. But speaking of the like kind of sort of friendly nature of it, I don't believe we're seeing any actual like gunshot impacts or even weapon impacts.
right.
They're a bit concealed, and especially given the fact on the first mission that we see our assassin lady, whose name is Yor,
Hmm.
pull off. Clearly, there's a lot of blood to be dealt with after the fight, but as you know, I mean, I'm just thinking back and like during the fight, I didn't see any blood. I didn't even
Right.
actually see her stab anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't know it because you see a lot of action, but you're right. It's not graphic. It's a lot of punches and kicks, and then they'll just cut to black and show you the aftermath, like
Right.
just a bunch of guys knocked out or something. That's a good point. I didn't notice that. That kind of makes me feel a little bit better about it too. But I know it's been attacked online. People are claiming that the little girl is being sexualized, which I call super
Oh
bullshit.
my god, bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. She,
That's trolling.
it's super trolling. Yeah, it's just an adopted father and adopted daughter being, she wants a dad and a mom, and because that's really what the show's about. That's why I was like, when I talked to you about it, I don't think we're going to be able to talk much because the show's really about them becoming a family. Um, Even though you're right, there was a lot of setup, so I'm hoping there's more tradecraft down the road that we might be able to mention in further episodes on this show. Um, But our biggest mission, the idea is that Wise wants Twilight to infiltrate Eden Academy, where Desmond's son attends, and he needs to adopt a child in order to befriend the son so that Twilight can get close to Desmond. However, after she passes the test, he's notified that they want to meet the wife and the mother, which makes things a little bit more complicated. So now Twilight has to go on a big hunt for a wife. But I thought it'd be nice to kind of discuss this overall plan. I think it's pretty good.
The ov- I'm sorry. Oh, the
But
overall plan involving well the
infiltrating the school and
right, because for some reason that's the only place the target of the investigation ever shows up in public is at
mhm.
functions of that school.
Yeah, he's like a
Um,
recluse, but being a member of such a prestigious school, the parents have to be involved in some way, shape, or form,
so I
right?
guess now I'm confused. Is that the toupee guy or not?
No,
No, it's a
this is a
different guy.
different guy. The toupee guy is Westalis's foreign minister. The Desmond, he's a leader of an extremely political party in Ostania, or probably Ostania.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Ostania, Ostania sounds the best.
yeah, probably. Um, I thought it's a pretty solid plan. The idea is Anya's the girl. I don't know. Let's talk a little bit about her. You were kind of weirded out that she was a telepath. That was kind of a weird extra horseshoe to throw into the mix.
Oh, I mean, um, it's the big thing the show hangs on, uh, really, because you've got, uh, mother and father in this little slapped together family. Both have a lot of secrets, not only from her but from each other. And they don't know she's a telepath, and so it's kind of a really weird take on the idea of I don't know, kids realizing that their parents aren't always being completely honest with them,
Hmm.
except it's just everything they're thinking is absolutely plain to her.
Yeah.
Although she's smart enough to know, or for whatever reason she thinks that they'll get rid of her if they find out that she's a telepath. um
Right. Right.
the show is 100%, it's gonna make it or break it with anybody that tries to watch it. I mean, obviously if you just do not like anime, then you're not even still in the theater. um but if you are, I think it's gonna make it or break it on whether or not you think the girl is cute, or whether or not you think she's incredibly fucking annoying. Because I could see people going either way. In the
Right.
end, I land on. I think she's adorable. She's fun,
Absolutely. Yeah, I think she's a lot of fun.
and
She
she's got the constant fear because I guess this is her fourth family. She's an orphan. This is the fourth family she's been placed in. She's got the overriding fear, and it's a good human emotion, motivation, agenda of
mhm,
hers is to make sure this family works and that she
right.
doesn't get tossed out. And she has even like another really good line where he takes her out to get her a new dress, and the tailor says like, okay, well, let's take your measurements, and she's screaming like, help, help, I'm being sold off.
Yeah, that was a very cute line. Yeah, well, she's got that, just instilled fear because she was a lab experiment apparently, and then let go and told very adamantly not to tell anybody about her telepathy. And that must be rough jumping back. And I think that's what adds to the wholesomeness. I think a good sad origin story really helps uh, kind of bring it together when you see them get happy. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I want good things for the characters. I
Yeah.
think I think that I think well, I mean, Twilight's kind of I mean, he's not a warm character, but he's not paper thin. I do kind
Right.
of care about him, but mostly I just enjoy watching him being like ultra uh over analytical about every little detail. Is really fun
Yeah.
to watch how he like looks at situations, how when he rents an apartment, all he cares about is that there's no bugs and there are securable escape routes.
Right. That's the a lot of the tradecraft is really fast paced in this show. There's tons of little Easter eggs that I think it'd be nice to kind of like chat about quickly. Like anytime he goes anywhere, it doesn't matter where he's going, the grocery store, the tailor, picking up cigarettes, whatever it is, somehow, some way, someone gives him a code, like a coin with a paper in it, or just says something weird that alerts him which code, I guess, scheme to use and what his
Ooh,
next like message is for his mission or something.
okay.
Um, and I thought that was kind of a nice running gag. Like it never ends. Everywhere he goes, even in the most remote places, there's somebody that's like working for Wise that can like hand him some info. And he's got like this like right hand man type of dude. I forgot his name, but it's the guy with the curly hair and the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like a bro that Twilight always like relies on when he needs like something. Every spy movie's got that guy that can get you stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like his fixer.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he's the one that got all of the answers for the entrance exam for Anya, right? I think.
the questions.
Oh, the questions. That's right. It was the
Yeah, he was able to
questions.
get the questions, which was, I don't know, maybe kind of funny to me because he had just like Twilight had just warned Anya very strongly against cheating. So when he got past the questions to the exam, I was kind of scratching my head and saying, "Wait a second, are they supposed to have that information? I don't think so."
No. Right. Yeah. Um,
But
but
yeah,
she.
his I
Go
got
ahead.
another example of his constant uh just being on point like at all times is he buys a book on parenting and he realizes like, oh, okay, if she's like nervous, I need to hold her hand. And then we have his internal dialogue. The first thing he's thinking is like, having one hand tied up will make it difficult to defend against an ambush, but I have to do this. And it's done in a, like, to me, like a really funny way. um he's got
Absolutely. That's kind of the
he's
charm of the show. Is his whole life has been on point as a spy, but now you throw a daughter and a wife in the mix, and like he's kind of slipping up a little bit, or at least he thinks so. But I think he's more opening up. You said he's kind of like not very. It's kind of like the No Man is an Island type of thing. No matter how much you can put up the cold barrier, there's going to be a crack somewhere. And I think what he realized, and because he tried to get rid of her, and I think
Oh,
he,
that's right. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
yeah, and he remembered when he was a kid, he cried and nobody helped him, and his whole motivation to become a spy was to make a world where no kids were crying or something. So there's a lot of little charming moments like that where he's just overthinking, overanalyzing being the good spy, the perfect spy that he's been his whole life, and now like Anya's in the mix, and it kind of adds like a whole dimension that's kind of throwing him off.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we just haven't got to know, because the structure of the way the 3 episodes kind of went was, first episode is him, I recruiting, quote unquote, Anya, and then
Right.
recruiting quote unquote your,
uh-huh.
and then the third episode is kind of where we first get to see all three of them functioning around together. I don't think I've gotten to know her yet. But she just, she was introduced, she's the final step of the cake that they're building up in the first 3 episodes. I do want to talk about her, if we could talk about Yor a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So again, I want to underline like his, photographic memory and always being super on point kind of thing, because even though we'll totally see that he's a functional combatant,
Right.
for this to work, for it to feel like there's a real triumvirate of talents and skills, she's being set up as she's the assassin, she's
Mhm.
the killer, she's the one
Right.
that should really be like super kicking ass in combat situations. So I like the fact that they're having him, if to me, if that's going to work, he needs to not be as great in combat, but we also need to see that he is like ultra competent in like all sorts of the regular tradecraft kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
then to her, she's got, I mean, okay, well, in general, she's got red eyes, but we see in some points in certain phrases that are said to her on a phone or something, that her eyes turn bright red. So I think we're meant to think that she's under some kind of conditioning that she's not aware of.
Oh. Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I only read like 8 chapters, so I don't think they got there in the comic. So that's a good point. I didn't even. That's really cool. Yeah, I just thought it was like a character design that she had red eyes, but that's really cute. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a Twilight doesn't seem to have a like a specified handler character in the show.
Right.
At least I didn't see in the first 3 episodes. Like you said, he's just getting his information dead dropped or brush passed to him.
Mhm.
Speaking of which, this show does have a park bench scene, so kudos to
It
that.
did.
It wasn't in a park. I think it was a bus station or a train station, but it's
Right.
definitely a classic newspaper passing situation. Um, and also, I think it's supposed to be comedy which I like. Which his mission, like, is one of those like he sets his newspaper down, picks the other guy's newspaper up, and then like his mission briefing is reading the newspaper. Like once he opens it up, instead of the news, it's just got pictures of you got to go here, you got to do this, blah blah blah. But yeah, think I think it's fun. It's fun to me to think that she's got some kind of conditioning going on. That's always kind of a fun thing to do with lady assassins in movies.
Yeah.
And this show is definitely demonstrated in its 3 episodes that's very familiar with spy movie tropes.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah, they're all over.
uh,
Well, and even Anya's watching that TV show.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She loves spy stuff,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is another funny thing. Um, but what was it? Oh yeah, like she was tests, and there's no shortage of little, I don't know, Easter egg gags, little toss offs. Like Anya was subject 007.
Oh
in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. That
in
was
in the laboratory.
yeah,
Uh, the cover surname that he picks for the family is Forger.
yeah. That was cute. I'm glad you pointed that out. I have that in my notes too. Yeah, I think his cover name is Lloyd Forger. Um,
Hmm.
Yor is actually known as the Thorn Princess as the assassin, but yeah, she goes by Yor Forger. And then of course Anya finally gets a family name that she can stick with.
Right.
Um,
But she does have a handler character. We haven't seen him, but
right.
he's someone she talks to on the phone called the shopkeeper.
Uh,
And I guess I've only seen her talk to him once that I can remember, but that's when her eyes like flashed red and she immediately pulled off the mission. But she does. It's not like she doesn't know that she's an assassin. It's not like one of those um, uh, Ipcress file or Manchurian candidate
right.
situations where after the assassination, she's like, I don't. What the hell did I do? What just happened? Blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
No, she
But
definitely
yeah,
knows. Yeah.
yeah, she knows she needs to keep that under wraps. To that end, also like there's also a little brother character that she has who also I haven't seen in person yet
Right.
that I vaguely might kind of suspect or hope turns out to be not actually her brother, but also a part of the psychological conditioning you've
Oh wow.
read
Yeah.
farther ahead in the comics. So, uh,
That's really good. That's really good thinking. The no, because you brought up the red eyes, and she's not exactly being controlled, but she makes like when she make the first assassination, we see her, I guess, complete. She goes, "I'm here to kill a murderous traitor." So it seems like she's very national or very, very extremist as far as whatever it is she's fighting to save or prevent. Right? It's not like with Twilight where he's just doing his job and he's really good at it and he's very calm. Now, it seems like she has a history there, so that would be really interesting, especially since her baby brother. Since she's been single forever, and being an assassin, she's. It looks weird that she's this young, attractive woman that's what 30 and not married yet. So the younger brother kind of feels bad for her, and I guess she got him a job in civil service, so he's like looking out for her. But that would be a nice twist to find out if he was part of her whole, I guess, training or programming or something.
right. And, like, again, I'm riffing on the fact, you just mentioned about her uh, not being married yet. There is a lot of like family value kind of messaging in this show that it is really important and it hinges around, which I can't tell exactly, but I mean, it's definitely not um, like an American perspective
No,
on families
right,
necessarily. Like the
right,
idea of, her, I mean, how old is she supposed to be? Like 22, you know? And people are like, it looks really weird that you're single.
right.
That's
Well,
that's coming from not my culture.
no, no. I think
Um,
she's 30 or
okay.
27. Yeah, yeah, 22 is a little young, but no, you're right. There's quite a bit. Um,
Well, it
that
always seems like anime characters in design, like they skip, like everyone looks like they're 20, between 0 and 22, and then
uh,
after that it picks up again at like 55, like with
yeah,
with no in betweens.
yeah. Very much so. That's funny.
Um,
Um,
but yeah, and so but the setting, like you said, it's fictional, but it is Westeros and Ostania
correct.
Astania, which I mean that obviously like codes to West and East.
Right.
So they're
So
playing a
that's the
little Cold War
yeah,
ish game, even though
absolutely.
it's clearly set in the modern age. It's not set in this. It's not set during. Well, I mean, I guess this could still be the early '90s.
Right.
Have we seen anything? Are they using cell phones? I don't think I've seen cell phones. What kind of phone did she use when she
Uh,
talked to her brother? I think it was a fucking landline. So yeah, I think this might be a period piece.
yeah, and considering kind of what the cars look like, they're
I haven't seen landlines. I really haven't seen computer usage.
right.
to any great extent. Um, so yeah, this might be supposed to be like near the middle end part of a Cold War that is in a world that looks like ours, but not exactly.
Right.
The setting itself, uh, I kind of like to describe as being like a Europe that is like stripped of all specific cultural references to specific countries.
Absolutely. I think they were trying to so much focus on the family. They didn't want the history to get in the way because I know a lot of historical anime is considered, even though they have like magic powers all the time. I think a lot of the historical information is like required to be like absolutely anally accurate. So I don't think they wanted to focus so much on the what's it called, the the setting and the history. They just wanted the aesthetic of a Cold War, and then
Mm-hmm.
like the main focus being on family.
Right. And now you mentioned that he's operating in Astana.
Uh
Is
huh.
are you sure about that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
The Eden. Well, I mean, I don't know about the toupee mission if that was in Ostania, but Eden Eden Academy is definitely in Ostania, and Donovan Desmond is like the head of the extremist party.
Okay. So that's another thing they're doing is like, in any kind of like Cold War movie, especially with that huge separation of like the Berlin Wall, um, you would get signifier like visual signifiers in the background and with characters and with accents of whether or not you're in the West or in the East.
Yeah.
Here, they're even going to the extent that not only does the West and just look like a very generic version of Europe.
Right.
If they're over in Astana, they're not making any moves to make Astana look anything different culturally than Westalis.
Absolutely. But talking about this made me realize that means Yor is probably working for Estonians if she's murdering traitors, right?
She very well might be.
And that might be a very interesting twist or plot because you start to see the family really growing together and like kind of falling for each other type of thing. I'm very interested to see if that's the case, and then they're gonna figure it out one day, and then they have to get past that. Are they gonna go after each other, or are they gonna keep it the secret? Are we gonna get like a the Americans situation where um, Philip and Elizabeth were like, we're just working for ourselves to survive. It's at this point we've given up on everybody. It's just us. It's you and me, babe. Type of thing. Some that would be fun.
You
I'm
know,
I'm
there's
kind of
a
excited to see that.
there's a sitcom structure. Uh, I think most popular in the '80s, where like one member of the family has a secret. You know,
Mhm.
it's a normal family, except like nobody knows that dad is a spy.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
but this is like tripling down on it in effect in the way that like we have three members of a family where none of them know each other's secret identity. Like he doesn't know she's an assassin, she doesn't know he's a spy, and neither of them know she's a telepath,
Right.
except she knows everything.
Yeah.
And kudos to the subtitle work. Because the show relies so much on like being able to be absolutely sure if you know whether you're listening to someone talk or listening to their internal monologue.
Oh
uh,
yeah.
and so like great use like of italics for internal, and then also it'll be if in your inner mind what you're doing is you're remembering something someone else said to you, that part will be in italics but also colored.
Oh yes,
Like
absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I mean, this is Crunchyroll. They don't really play around when it comes to subtitling. Um, so that it's Oh yeah, and if you haven't seen the show yet, that's where it's on. It's on Crunchyroll. I believe I've heard it's also available on Hulu, but
I did hear you could catch it on Hulu.
yeah. Um, which means I guess they're getting licensing from Crunchyroll.
Right.
I don't know, but yeah, but yeah, I think that's all I got. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of setup.
That's Spy Family episodes 1 through 3.
Well, next week we're talking about slow horses. Did I get it right this time? Slow horses.
Right. I
Okay.
have the same thing. I always want to say old horses.
Yeah, or bad horses or wild horses, something. I always get it wrong. But okay, so Slow Horses, starring Gary Oldman. If any of you listening right now have a show that you're like dying for us to talk about, or like, why are you guys not even talking about it? You can yell at us at spies_like_us on Twitter, or go to facebook.com/spieslikeUspodcast. Shoot us a line there, or you can go to the contact page on our website, spieslikeus.net. And if you haven't subscribed already, definitely subscribe. Just search Spies Like Us Podcast on your favorite podcast app. And we'll see you next week.
The preceding transmission sampled the song Enter the Party by Kevin MacLeod and sound effects from freesound.org. Attributions and links are found at spieslikeus.net.